we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Good morning, everyone. For millennia, the Western Abenaki people have called this land around Montpelier and central Vermont home. They've loved and cared for this land. We now have the privilege of gathering here as a religious community. Let us do so honoring this legacy of love and stewardship. My name is Pam Walker. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be your worship associate this morning. On behalf of the entire worship team and the choir, I'm delighted to welcome everyone here. A special morning. To those of you in the sanctuary and those who are watching live stream, thank you for joining us at this special time of worship. We deeply appreciate your being with us and being part of our fellowship here at the Unitarian Church of Montpelier. We call it UCM. For over 155 years, this church has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance, as well as peace and justice for our planet. With you all, we continue on that path today. So please know that we have hearing assist devices available on the table at the rear of the sanctuary. And you can also listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room downstairs if you should need to leave the sanctuary for any reason. So it's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for the service. If this is your first time, your second time, and you feel comfortable, we'd love to greet you if you don't mind standing up or giving us a wave, and we can welcome you. Anyone new here? Thank you. We're glad that you're here. And we hope that any newcomers you're welcome to come to the welcome table in the vestry after the service to complete a welcome form so you can get the e-news and stay in touch with us. And we hope that all of us will be able to participate in the coffee hour right after the service. And I don't know whether you've noticed, but there are a lot of items from the holiday fair going at bargain rates. So there's some new things too, I just noticed. So now we can all share in the welcoming by greeting each other, turning to your neighbors in front of you or back of you and saying hello. Or you want to do yours first?
I will go first.
Okay. And now, it's always hard to stop, but we have some special announcements, especially relating to the holiday fair, and Joan is going to tell us about that.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Holiday Fair team, I want to say thank you to everyone who donated items and baked goods, who helped with setting up and sorting, who hosted tables, organized wreath and pecan sales, prepared and served food and beverages, and played music for the holiday fair. Thank you to all who came out to shop the fair and join in the fun. And of course, a big thank you to Janet and John Poten for their leadership. So we had a couple of drum rolls before the two quilt raffles, and I'll just do a mini drum roll. The initial tally of proceeds for the holiday fair is $10,462.14. And the fun continues. There will be Sunday sales today after the service down in the vestry. Next year's holiday fair is Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Mark your calendars and see you at the fair.
Well, that's incredibly exciting news. So a couple more announcements. Next Sunday, December 11th, the lay pastoral care team, will be hosting a conversation about grief during the holidays, and all are welcome. All the details about time and place will be in the e-news. So please, all of us, we know to read the weekly e-news on our computers to learn about ways we can connect and serve our community. So next, we're going to have the prelude that will be played by our guest for the morning, Callum Robachek. And what's particularly special is that he has composed the two pieces he'll be playing for us this morning. And the first one you'll hear now. Thank you, Callum.
Thank you, Callum. I invite you to join me in these responsive opening words by Amanda Eudice Kessler. They can be found in the maroon book at the end of your pews or also on our slides, which will be projected momentarily. I will read the regular text and invite you to respond with the italicized text. A planet is born, a spark ignites, something completely new comes into being. A waterfall descends, a rainbow arcs through the sky, the ocean opens to an endless horizon. The stars pierce our hearts. Peace envelops us. We are blessed. We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of wonder. In the midst of pain, we find our way to hope and restoration. We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of healing. In the midst of fear, we do what is right and speak our truth in faith. We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of courage. In our aloneness, we see someone in greater need and offer ourselves to them. We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of compassion. We gather in community, in relationship, in friendship, and cherish each other. Thank you. Today marks the second Sunday of the season of Advent in the Christian tradition, a time of preparation for the arrival of Jesus Christ into the world. And the Advent wreath, which we have on the chancel near the piano, is a symbol associated with Advent. As Unitarian Universalists, the season of Advent asks us, what are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the life of our world? On this second Sunday of Advent, we light 2 candles on the Advent wreath, the first for hope and the second for peace. May the light of these candles help us bring more hope and peace into the world. Let us now join in singing our opening hymn. It's number 83 in the gray hymnal, Winds Be Still. Please rise in body or spirit.
Thank you.
So let us now light our chalice, the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. And this morning we welcome Sue and Art Stuckey to light the chalice. And as they do, I invite you to light a chalice at home or a candle if you have one nearby. So with this flame, it's an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Please join now in saying our congressional covenant, and it will be on the, I believe, on the wall in a few minutes. Here we go. We covenant to speak honestly and listen deeply to each other and the voices within. Treat each other with compassion and honor our differences. Take responsibility for the impact our words, actions, and inactions have on each other. Support each other in times of grief and celebrate the beauty and joy in our lives. Honor the gifts of the past and be gentle with each other as we grow. Encourage each other in the brave work of creating a more beloved community and a healthy and sustainable world. And forgive each other and start again.
Good morning. This is the time in the service where we invite the children and teachers and guardians, if they want, to join us in the exploration of spiritual values upstairs in our Sunday school, what used to be called our Sunday school classroom. I'm asked to remind you, that, especially parents of third graders and younger, to be sure to pick up their kids afterwards, right after the service. How anybody could not remember, I don't know, but there you are. So with that invitation, I'm happy to ask you all to help sing us out as we move on to class. Thank you.
So the act of giving, as we all know, is a spiritual practice and very important element of our shared time of worship.
Sorry, I forgot. I want to say one more thing about the lay pastoral care.
Right now?
Yes.
Change in plan. Joan has a few words first.
Thank you. Yes, we had been planning to do our commissioning of our lay pastoral care team, which is a special ceremony that we have once a year, and so it was not top of mind. Thank you, Pam, for adjusting. But the ceremony that was scheduled for this morning has actually been postponed until January, when we'll hopefully be able to introduce the entire 5-member team. For now, I would like to encourage you to seek out support from myself or the lay pastoral care team whenever you might be in need of a pastoral presence or a listening ear. The team is trained in the skills of active listening and learn together about emotional and spiritual issues that might arise in our community. They provide support during challenging times and offer what is often the first line of response in times of crisis, as well as ongoing support. Our lay pastoral caregivers this year are Victoria Batten, Denise Bailey, Mary Jane Olson, Art Stuckey, and Ruth Whitty. There are also many others in our congregation who have volunteered to provide practical kinds of help in times of need and crisis, including providing meals, rides to doctor's appointments, pet care, or grocery shopping. Thank you to Aaron Aguayo, who has coordinated this outreach through our Caring Network for the last several years. Aaron will be stepping down from this role at the end of the month, and we are looking for a new coordinator. So please be in touch with me or with Aaron if this is a role that you might consider taking on for our congregation, and we can talk with you about what is involved. You can also email Aaron at ucmcaringnetwork@gmail.com to add your name to the list of people who are willing to be called upon, as well as to request help when it is needed. Thank you to all of you for taking part in our ministry of caring. It truly builds a loving community. Thank you.
So to continue, each month through the UCM Community Pouch, we share our collection with an important community group or that's aligned with our values or to help the church. So this month, the recipient for the whole month of December is the People's Health and Wellness Clinic that I think many of us know about. It's in Barrie, and it provides an amazing primary health care and wellness education to the uninsured and the underinsured members of Central Vermont community. It's staffed by volunteer doctors, nurses, and dentists, and other volunteers. And in this congregation, there are people who have served on its board and who are currently serving as a volunteer, as a nurse or another capacity. These are for people who don't have any other possibility to receive medical care. So it's a crucial service for our community. So half of our cash offerings will go to this pouch recipient. The other half will directly support the work of our church. If you want to designate your entire offering to the community pouch, please indicate that with a note on your note attached to your cash or on the memo line of your check. The checks will go to the church unless otherwise designated. So we're very grateful to all of you for your generosity. So let us now receive the offering. And we will have a very beautiful musical offering from our very talented choir. So the pouch, as you know the drill, goes from the end of the aisle towards the center. Thank you.
hearts that have been shared by our live stream community members. I invite you to continue in this time of meditation and prayer, tuning into your own heart and mind and body in this moment, allowing yourself to settle in just right here, right now, feeling the fullness of all that has been shared, aloud, and all that is held in the quiet spaces of our hearts and in this silence. And I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, we hold with tenderness the joy, but also the grief and the sorrow of this day. From the loss of ones dear to us, to the anguish of witnessing those close to us in despair, to the sorrow of seasons out of sync with once reliable rhythms, we seek solace for our pain. We hold with compassion all who are suffering right here in this room, in our community, in our nation, in our world. We pray that we can tend to our own sources of pain and sorrow with gentleness and compassion, and that we can offer to others our understanding and care with love. May we know that we are not alone, but held in this community, in the vastness of a love enveloping all, and in an expansive universe beyond our understanding. May these connections give us strength and courage this day and in the days ahead. Amen, and blessed be. Let us share now in a time of quiet meditation together. Our reading this morning is by Chet Ramo, professor of physics and astronomy and a former science writer for the Boston Globe. These are selections from his book, Honey from Stone, A Naturalist's Search for God. Every accumulation of knowledge is full of rabbit holes. Enter a rabbit hole, quantum physics say, or relativity, and that wonderland has its own rabbit holes, leading to yet other exotic terrains. One doesn't have to be a Lord Kelvin or an Einstein to find a place to enter. A leaf of grass will provide ingress to infinity. The ancients believed that the stars were pinholes in the dome of the sky, through which shone the light of an outer, more wonderful world. And it is true. Every star is a rabbit hole into another world. In the course of a lifetime of starry night, I could not explore them all. I lie back on this grassy bank, and the light of 10,000 stars enters my eyes. 10,000 subtle but distinct wavelets of energy enter my eyes at slightly different angles from out of the depths of space. And by some miracle, my eyes and brain sort it all out, put each star in its proper place, recognize the familiar patterns of the constellations, construct a Milky Way, and open my soul to a universe whose length and breadth exceed my wildest imagining. Starlight falls upon me like a gentle rain. It blows across me like a furious wind. I am soaked and shaken. I have a friend who speaks of knowledge as an island in a sea of mystery. Let this then be the ground of my faith. All that we know, now and forever, all scientific knowledge that we have of this world or ever will have is as an island in the sea. And still, the mystery surrounds us. Hundreds of astronomers around the world watched with anticipation as the Ariane 5, the rocket carrying the 14,300-pound James Webb Space Telescope, launched from the Guyana Space Center on Christmas Day last year. This moment had been decades and billions of dollars in the making. The James Webb Space Telescope is an international collaboration among NASA, the European Space Agency, and the Canadian Space Agency. With its heat shield the size of a tennis court and its gold-plated mirror, it is the most complex observatory ever launched into space. The first images from the telescope were received this past July and have been coming in ever since, astounding astronomers and laypeople alike with their clarity and their new revelations. From its lookout 1 million miles away from Earth, this telescope is able to peer back over 13.5 billion years to see the first stars and galaxies forming out of the darkness of the early universe. It can help us to understand how galaxies assemble over billions of years, and it will capture images of planets beyond our solar system, perhaps even finding the building blocks of life elsewhere in the universe. Michelle Thaler was one of the first scientists to see the first images sent back by the Webb telescope, and I want to credit her for helping me to understand what we're witnessing in this image. It's a picture of a star-forming region called NGC 3324 in the Carina Nebula, an area where thousands of new stars are forming. The image shows a landscape of shapes resembling mountains and valleys, speckled with glittering stars. With infrared light, the James Webb Space Telescope reveals for the first time previously invisible areas of starbirth. I, for one, find this image breathtaking. Thaler, the astronomer I mentioned earlier, shares how the image leaves you wanting more. The image reveals more than we know now about star birth, and yet there is so much mystery still out there for us to wonder about. What compels us, human beings, to wonder about this world of stars and planets, the expanse of universe beyond the earth? I think in part it has to do with the mystery in darkness. As we head into the winter months, we acknowledge that darkness is part of our existence. It seems to contain within it the unknown, and it is teeming with possibility. This possibility can sometimes seem frightening, but it is also the possibility that is fertile in its seeming emptiness. The impulse to seek illumination and knowledge in the dark has been with human beings for a very long time. Our earliest ancestors, like us, tried to make sense of both the world around them and also the world beyond, the world represented by that inky, starry sky. Early cosmologies told of gods that controlled natural phenomena, or of the cosmic egg in which the entire universe is contained, or of an eternally unchanging universe with the earth at its center. Over time, human beings developed scientific methods and tools to create and test our theories, and to develop an empirical knowledge of the world and universe. And at the same time, religions developed to produce and to understand an entirely different kind of knowledge of the world and the universe. Another perspective on the role of wonder in our lives comes from religious naturalism. Naturalism is simply a set of beliefs and attitudes that focus on the natural world. Religious naturalism encompasses many different, nuanced beliefs, but the general orientation of religious naturalism is that religious meaning and feeling can be found through a focus on the natural world. Any of you who might have felt a sense of awe witnessing a spectacular sunset, or a deep feeling of connection watching a deer grazing in a field, may find resonance with this orientation of religious naturalism. Some religious naturalists believe that God or a divine power is the creator and is the reason the natural world exists. Other religious naturalists hold no belief in a divine supernatural power. All religious naturalists find the religious depths of wonder, awe, gratitude, reverence, and ultimacy from nature itself. Within religious naturalism, religion and science are not in conflict, but go hand in hand. It is through the discoveries of science that religious and spiritual experience take place. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the place of science in helping us to understand the great mysteries of the world and the universe, and to help us ask even bigger questions. Our religious tradition embraces both the knowledge and the questions that science brings to light. Though they may seem at odds to some, religion and science share this in common: they are both vehicles for exploring the unknown. The mystery of the unknown continues to draw us, human beings, into both religious and scientific ways of studying, explaining, and celebrating the larger world. Religion and science work in tandem to answer the question, where do we come from? This larger story, sometimes called the great story, the universe story, and the epic of evolution, is a story of intricate and interdependent connection among the human story, the life story, the earth story, and the story of the cosmos wrapped into a sacred whole. The Unitarian Universalist minister David Bumbaugh writes of this connection this way: "Our beings are intimately related to every living thing that creeps or crawls or flies, to every living thing that is rooted in the earth and reaches for the sun, to every living thing that inhabits the dark depths of the oceans. We are but one form life has taken, one expression of Gaia's living process. The heat of our bodies is the heat of stars, tempered to the uses of life. The salt in our blood and in our tears is the salt of ancient oceans. The past is not dead. It lives in us even now. The evolutionary universe, the ancient environment, the emergence of complex life, all are recapitulated in every moment of our existence." Here is another image that was among the first sent back to Earth by the James Webb Space Telescope this past July. Instead of star birth, these two images set side by side show the death of a star. We are seeing a star unraveling into space billions of years ago, after the main nuclear reactions have gone off inside of it. The infrared technology of the telescope allows us to see within the cloud of dust surrounding what at first appears to be one central star, and to see that there are actually two stars there, and they are just shedding their material out into space. This is quite literally where the chemistry of life begins. The heavy elements that are the building blocks of life, carbon, iron, sulfur, were formed in these stars and others when they died. This is the place where many of the atoms in your body and in mine were formed, in the dying star. Reflecting on this image, the astronomer Michelle Thaler says, "We are looking back to the beginning of us. We are seeing the very atoms of our own bodies right here in the dying, shedding star." Again, the words of David Bumbaugh: "We are not encapsulated, separated, isolated beings. Whatever we are, the universe is. The reality inside of us and the reality outside of us are ultimately one reality. In us, the universe dreams its dreams. In us, the universe struggles for a moral vision. In us, the universe hopes for new possibilities. In us, the universe strives for self-understanding. In us, the universe seeks the meaning of existence." And of course, we aren't the only way the universe has found expression, but if we consider even the fact that we are one way that it does, well, for me, that is mysterious and awe-inspiring enough. The meaning that we make of our existence ultimately goes back to this greater mystery. The mystery of who we are is part and parcel of the mystery of the universe. We cannot be separated. If we Unitarian Universalists have any gospel or good news at all, it has to be this: that mysteriously and through no doing of our own, we are intimate and intricate parts of a large and wondrous universe. It is through this cosmically bound existence that we seek knowledge, create beauty, express love, and cling to hope. And if the mystery of that doesn't fill you with wonder, awe, and reverence, well, I'm not sure what would. To feel reverence is to recognize with humility our place within the larger story of the universe. This is what keeps us connected to the vastness without losing ourselves in it. And especially when our lives start to take on a feeling of narrowness and confinement, I think it's worth taking a moment to revel in that mystery, to take a cosmic view, to remember that the arc of the universe is quite long. The trials and tribulations of our human existence matter greatly. Doing what we can to make the world more humane, just, sustainable, and peaceful matters greatly. And we can remember that the forces surrounding us are so much greater than we can imagine. We are part of that mysterious whole. Our response to this truth and what shapes the character of our day-to-day existence, and so we can continue to ask ourselves, how do we respond to this mystery that surrounds us? Ursula Goodenough is a religious naturalist and a cell biologist, and she offers this response. She says, "I revert to my covenant with mystery and respond to the emergence of life, not with a search for its design or purpose, but instead with outrageous celebration that it occurred at all." What if we could respond with outrageous celebration to the mystery that the emergence of life occurred at all? In engaging with the mystery that surrounds us and embracing our wonder and awe, we feel what it means to be fully human. And whatever we might believe is the source of the emergence of life, we can all respond with outrageous celebration and gratitude at the continuing and evolving emergence that has brought us to this moment and the mysterious miracle and blessing that we are even here. Just about 54 years ago, on December 21st, 1968, NASA sent out Apollo 8 with a mission to complete a full orbit around the moon and back to Earth. The 3 astronauts who were aboard the spacecraft, Bill Anders, Frank Borman, and Jim Lovell, were interviewed by the New York Times about their experience as part of that mission. They describe what it was like to be on the quote-unquote dark side of the moon, the side on which the sun was completely blocked out. They describe how gray and colorless it was. One of the astronauts said it felt like they were back at the beginning of time. And then, as their orbit continued, they could see the horizon of the moon opening up to the endless darkness of space. And as they continued their orbit, a small bluish orb began to appear, glowing bright amidst the vast black expanse. They hurried to get the camera out, feeling instinctively that this was a moment to capture on film. This is the now famous photo taken by Bill Anders 54 years ago. They were taken aback by the awesomeness of the moment, and it put into perspective our place in the vast cosmos. One of the astronauts put it this way: "We're just a small piece of an almost infinite universe." May the mystery of which we are a part inspire our wonder, our awe, our reverence, our humility, and our gratitude. May we know that in the darkness lies the possibility of discovery and the promise of illumination shining brightly. May we find comfort and inspiration in the knowledge that we are an inextricable and sacred part of a vast and wondrous universe. So may it be. Let us join now in our closing hymn. It is number 398 in the gray hymnal, "To See the World." Please rise in body or spirit.
Could you tell them that? This is a somewhat unfamiliar hymn, probably, so Eliza will be playing it through once entirely so you can familiarize yourself with it a little bit.
As we close our service, we extinguish our chalice and carry with us its flame of truth, the warmth of community and the spark of hope into the days and the week ahead. And as we do so, let us say together our mission statement. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home. These closing words are by Mary Eads. Like the cosmic dust following after a great Perseid meteor, we are the living remnants of time and all that has come to pass in its wake, briefly shining lights on the ways to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the stardust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine to bless the world and each other. Shine, shine, shine. We conclude our service with the postlude.